Okay, here's a video I shot at Long Beach about a year and a half ago. It was the summer of 2019, and this is of Will Claye triple jumping. 1814, I believe it was, 18 meters 14, which is 59.7. I think this was like the number 3 jump of all time uh, ever. Um, and this was at sea level and with the legal wind. And as you can see, I shot this video, so as you can see, I was right next to the runway. And you can see he was really moving. And that facility at Long Beach is phenomenal. They've got the Mondo surface, and it's fast, and it's just a place where people get good jumps. So I want to show this to you jumpers for a number of reasons. Um, I want you to see a few things that I've been kind of trying to reinforce with you guys, whether you're a long jumper or a triple jumper. So I want you to notice that Will here, notice he's running into the board. Now, in the triple jump, there isn't a real big penultimate, but there is a bit of one, as you can see right here, because it is a jump, but we try to think of it as a run, and we want to project directly out. If you guys remember, a few years ago, Will used to do double arm from the board. Now he does like a modified arm and a half from the board. You can see right here, you can see where he's running, takes off with his left, his right leg, that is. So you see his left arm, which would normally, swing back um, and when he's taken off the board. And you're going to notice that as it swings back, it doesn't go completely. It almost kind of bounces off the front of his left hip. And you can bounce it off your chest. Some people bounce off their stomach, bounce off the hip. Christian Taylor does something pretty similar. And then he pushes himself up and out with the arms. You know, his arms are projecting at shoulder height and up and out away from his body. And then he starts this turnaround, and the drop leg, as you can see, is straight down. Notice that his torso is straight up as well. So he's standing tall as he steps down and through, cycles that leg up. And I know a couple of you, I've talked to you about your hop phase, how we want that angle to be at a certain, at 90 degrees or less. Right here, he's about 82. And a couple of you, I did your jumps, and I showed you guys. A couple of you were down here in around 100 or 103 or something like that, and that's just way too low. So we look at being at least 90. You see Will here, as you can see, and it's not exact. So he's somewhere in the 80s. So we've got that leg up to where it's pretty much parallel to the runway. And so what I look for is wherever you are to the point where that foot begins to move forward of the knee, you get what we call an extension reflex. That's when the knee begins to drop. So that's his maximum knee height right there. Notice as he swings the arm back for you triple jumpers, notice that those arms are swinging back at about shoulder level. Now there's going to be a bit of a dip because the body's going to twist slightly because you're jumping on one leg, so there will be a bit of a twist. But you notice that one arm is out here. If you look closely, you'll see he's out. And the other arm's a little bit lower, of course. I can see that. But they do not swing back by the hip. That's a huge mistake, I believe. Steps up and over. Now we lead with the knee, ankle behind. Then we kick the door down, right? So we get that foot out, and the arms are well, angled behind the body. You can see they're back here, well behind in preparation. So as this leg sweeps down, the arms are going to swing forward together. Because it is a jump, there will be some separation between the knees, unlike in sprinting where the knees are together. But it is a jump. So the feet will be slightly ahead of the center of mass. The torso is erect, slightly forward, never backwards. Notice that the recovery leg, the heel is relatively low. A couple of you, or at least one of you that I know of, tends to recover that foot too high, like that. So where this is your foot, that's too high. And because what happens is you tend to fall over to the front, and you can't get back up off the ground well. So they come together, and a good rule of thumb is that the arms that are sweeping forward are going to match the thigh that sweeps forward, as you can see. And up, they sweep. Now when they come forward, the arms sweep down past the hip hands past the hip, that is. Block at shoulder level. As you can see, thumbs turned down. And again, notice that the arms are sweeping back. No lower than about midway through the torso, as you can see here, not by the hips. Look at the moving statue in the air. Here, swastika position, right? Moving statue. And at that point, you can see again the knee angle. And this is an estimate, of course, less than 90 degrees. Most of you have no trouble getting the knee up on your step phase. It's that hop phase where we really struggle. Notice that the spine angle, slightly forward, never to the rear in this direction. That's a huge mistake. Then again, lead with the knee, ankle behind the knee. The knee always leads first. Good rule of thumb is as you leave the ground, that knee should be in front of the ankle. On the step phase, you may get a bit of a pump or a squeeze, like you see Will does here. If you guys have seen Chris Bernard, he does it really big. And everybody's different, and so that's a personal preference. But in jumping, this is always the case. Do not kick, but instead punch the knee. Turns the thumb down, brings the hands back again, loads, good stretch reflex. Kick the door down, leading with the heel, flat foot, low heel recovery, strikes, leg is almost straight, as you can see, and you notice that his torso is hard to tell from this angle. At this point, I'm slightly behind him, but again, straight up and down, maybe slightly forward. There will be a bit of a twist again, because again, he's on one leg, so that's normal. Drives up again as he leaves the ground. Look at the knee. Let me give you a better arrow. Look at the knee. Look at the ankle. Ankle, that is. Ankle's behind the knee. The knee thrusts up as we're sweeping, driving the foot to the ground, obviously. In his case, Will does like a modified hang position. Comes up, drives the knee up. We always block at 90 degrees, like we talked about before. Coming up, lowers. He sits into the chair. You guys remember the chair drill, right? So we take our chair. Here's our chair, right? Chair drill. Look where the arms go. Remember the belt in the hands? Belts are in the hands there. Under the hips. Shoot through. Look at those hands. Notice where the hands are before the heels hit the sand. Legs are well extended. Heels are out. Toes are up. Into the pit. Let's take a look at his leg angle. Again, we're not next to him, but I've told you guys before I like to see 150 degrees, give or take. And right here, he's about 140. So, and again, I'm behind him, so he's probably a little bit bigger than that. In fact, I can almost guarantee it. But I'm just behind him, so I don't get a real good angle. Now, you see where he is. Even though his feet are out in front, notice that his torso, and it's hard to tell from this angle, but you can see his torso is slightly forward. A lot of times we'll tend to lean back on the landing, and that's wrong. So as he goes forward, he goes a little bit to the side, but you're going to notice that his butt is going to land, and his heels are going to, or where his hips are, and you see his hips, heels hit here, his hips hit about here, and he's probably pretty equal. If maybe lost a couple of inches, if that, in my view, but not much at all. And then he comes on out to the landing. So, all right. So hopefully this makes some sense to you. So it's a good chance for you guys to get a good look. I know all of you aren't triple jumpers, but some of the movements are still the same. On the long jump phase, it's still the exact same as the long jump. On the long jump is not a push. The long jump is a hit where the leg is relatively straight. And the angle, I can tell you the angle normally for the long jump is about 30 degrees. Ankle to hip, give or take. And so if I measured it here, let me see if I can get a good angle. And if I was go down, again, right about 30 degrees. That's the normal angle that you're going to see. And then from here, The knee drives up to 90 degrees or so relative to the spine, and then stride, jump, hang into the landing from there.